Are you a business owner who's struggling to get qualified leads? Well, today we talked to Amy Wood, the owner at Flint Avenue Marketing, and she gave us 5 actionable insights on how to grow your business and get the leads in the door that you need. So we talked about referral programs, what kind of ad spend that you need to do and where you need to do it, and so much more. I can't wait for you to listen to this episode and get all the insights from Amy.
Welcome to the Business Growth Masterclass, where business growth is made simple. Listen as we discuss best practices to streamline your operations, increase your profits, and ultimately create healthier, more stable, and more valuable companies. Here we go. All right, we are live. Welcome to the podcast. The founder of Flint Avenue Marketing, Amy Wood. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. We always like to start with a fun one. So I'm curious, if you could go to lunch with any entrepreneur, dead or alive, who are you choosing?
Okay, well, I would probably choose, I don't know if you classify him in the entrepreneur space, but he's definitely inspired a lot of entrepreneurs, and that'd be Stephen Covey.
Okay.
I got to learn from him way back and from his dad as well, and I just adore him.
I need more. Okay. Stephen Covey, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yes.
People?
Yes.
You got to work with him. Tell me more.
Yeah. So after he wrote that book, there was like a masterclass in the Houston area. And the company I was working for, a large consulting firm there, they got us tickets to go learn the 8th habit with the book release, which was happening at the same time as this masterclass. And so I got to go and learn directly from him. And it was spectacular. Got his book, got the 8th habit signed. It was neat.
Wow. That's like the first nonfiction book that I ever read. I was in high school and I remember just being fired up as a high schooler.
Same. Yeah.
I'm so jealous. I'm like a nonfiction book connoisseur.
Same.
And
Yes,
that's
Same.
like up there.
I know.
I'm so jealous
Like,
right
don't
now.
you want to meet Zig Ziglar and like all those guys?
Yes. I mean, I'm sure they're odd people, but I would love to meet them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you could pick any better than that to start us off. So it's a good choice. I'm curious, you already alluded to it a little bit. You worked for a large marketing firm in the Houston area, did you say? How did you get into the business as starting your own gig?
Yeah. So it was actually a consulting firm that also did services similar to Flint Avenue. I came into that job as a writer. That's my background, is writing and doing instructional design. So I had created training programs for large enterprise like companies, really big companies. And so whenever I moved back to Lubbock, some of the things that I was doing in that instructional design space actually kind of fed into marketing writing. It's hard to hire marketing writers, especially 15 years ago when everybody wasn't a content creator. But training development is basically getting people to take where they are now and move into a new space mentally, right? Mind shift. And so marketing is the same thing, just compact. So it's still training. It's still getting someone to change their mind for a new decision, but in a shorter, faster, sexier way, maybe.
Yeah.
And so it was a natural transition into marketing. So I worked with some large brands in that same consulting firm as I worked my way into the marketing space. And then when I moved back home to Lubbock, where I was born and raised, I saw there was kind of a gap in really strategic, smart marketing. And it was more like throw a banner, hang a sign, shake a hand, know the right person. And I thought I could help in that area. And so that's kind of how I started Flint Avenue.
That's awesome. I don't think I've ever heard anyone describe marketing in that way, where you're shifting someone's mindset. So what are some ways that you try to do that, or what are some strategies for doing that?
Well, really it's just identifying with the person you're trying to sell to, right? You need to know who your buyer persona is, who's that person, and what's the need that you're trying to fill in their life. What's the thing that keeps them up at night? I guess you hear that question a lot.
Yeah.
But if you figure out just whatever your target audience is, what is the challenge they're faced with the most, or where do they find friction on the path of where they're headed? And then, easing that friction a little bit with whatever you can, maybe it's a decision they're trying to make, and that's marketing. You're trying to get them to, buy this, not that. Mine's better. Why? Well, it just eased a little friction in that decision making. So
Okay, so you're helping a business owner think about the friction point for whoever they are providing services or a product to, and how to.
Or a consumer or an end consumer. I mean, if you're selling laundry detergent and you're the first one that comes up with liquid detergent, you eased friction from powder to liquid, whatever. And then there's pods. Like every single iteration of product is usually trying to solve a problem the previous customer or consumer had. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So shifting the mindset to, hey, I used to, use powder, but this liquid is so much better, and here's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Articulating
Or
that.
like everything's just fine. I'll just roll with everything how it is. It's like, well, could you be better? Could it be new and improved? Could you try a new way of thinking about it? Could you, instead of having a storefront, have a website? Could you, instead of hiring, a sales team, use social media? Like there's all kinds of decisions. You're making a million decisions a day,
Yeah.
Helping people make those decisions is marketing.
And a lot of those decisions feed into their overall strategy, right? So in terms of how they want to grow their business and using marketing to do that. So I'm assuming that you do a lot of talking and thinking about strategy with your business owners that you work with, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We work through who's their market, where are they headed, who are they trying to sell to, and then developing what's the best way to enter that market. Sometimes it's a trade show. Sometimes the trade show doesn't make any sense at all. It would be like the furthest thing. And sometimes it's, a more grassroots technique, a guerrilla technique. Maybe you need a flash mob, or you need, there's all kinds of creative ways you can identify that connection point between business and consumer, or business and purchaser.
Yeah. I like the flash mob.
We
need a flash mob.
That's a 2008 reference.
I know, right?
What?
I still want one though. Like I try to get my team all the time. I'm like, we please flash mob First Friday art trail, and they're like, it's old, and I'm like, but we can sing. We can do the Thriller dance. Like it would be great. Yeah. And they're like, no.
I think you should bring it back.
That's funny. What is the biggest mistake that business owners are making around marketing? What do you see over and over?
Well, hope is not a strategy.
Okay.
So that's probably the first one. I'm going to turn on the lights and hope they walk through the door. It's like, no, that's not a good strategy. Yeah. So probably the number one thing is just they don't budget for it. They don't make space for it. And it's literally the lifeline to their business growth, their business success. They have to market themselves, or you don't have a business. Then you're a nonprofit, I guess. I don't know.
How would you differentiate between, like, explain to a business owner what marketing does for them? Marketing compared to sales, like differentiate that a little bit. I feel like with small business owners, that gets a little blended, that the salesperson is the marketing person, but you what does that mean for a small business owner?
Sure. So marketing is really the positioning of your brand. It's explaining to the outside world who you are, what you're trying to do, how to interact with you, what your culture's like, why you're important, why you exist. All of that is marketing. Sales is the actual action of the transaction. So once they see you and they love you and they're connected and they have all these, reasons to head your direction, maybe you've got the thing that they need, the service or the product. That sale is just the transactional piece in between. It's relational still. I mean, of course, you have to have relational salespeople that bring them in the door. But if they get there and it's not what they expected, or if they get there and it's, their experience doesn't align with what you've presented it to be, that's where you see the marketing gap. But there's also advertising, like advertising, PR, sales, and marketing. All four of those verticals are very different in their behavior. And a lot of small businesses they'll hire like one person and they're like, now you're doing sales, marketing, PR, ads. And you're like, wait, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
We work with some state agency, and one of the state agencies we work for has literally one person for Facebook, one person for LinkedIn, one person for each of the different social channels, just alone. And I'm like, that's a dream. That's so cool.
The government job.
I know, right? Like
the government
their whole
Facebook
job
page
is literally LinkedIn, listening and posting and responding. I'm like, that's how you should do it. That'd be so cool if we could all have that level. But
yeah,
if we all could print money. Okay, tell me, you worked for a consultant.
Sure.
And then you opened up your own business. Mm-hmm. What did the first few years look like? I mean, did you just open it and money started raining from up above?
Amazing. No, it was rough. Yeah, it was hard. Now, the first year I pretty much did consulting. I was just the Amy Wood show. I'd go out and I'd talk to people and I'd give advice and I would help them. I'd look at the things they were doing. And because of my background and in doing training programs and things like that, I had some HR under my belt. I had a few other things so I could do a little bit different business consulting. And so I would go do it. And then they would say, oh, we got our team to develop this. Is this what you were talking about? And I'd be like, no,
not at all.
What happened? What did we miss here? And so what I found was I needed a team behind me to help start developing some of these things in-house so that way, whenever I worked a strategy with somebody, my team could actually create that thing. And
That's
so,
awesome.
yeah, that was kind of the first year, was just that transition of hiring, realizing I needed to have more people with me than
What was your first hire?
graphic design, web developer.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still with me.
Really?
How many people are on your team now?
7 full-time and probably 30 worldwide, just
Wow.
1099s or part-time. Yeah.
That's awesome. What year did you start?
2015.
2015. All right. Coming up on 10 years.
I know.
Yeah.
Dang.
We're stoked.
Okay. So you mentioned the first person being graphic design.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, in the marketing realm, what is your sweet spot? What is like your wheelhouse? What you feel like you're gifted to do?
I'm a writer.
A writer.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I'm hyper creative. So there's never a bottom to the ideas. Like, I don't ever fear giving a really great idea to somebody because I will have 10 more. Like, creativity is just limitless.
It's nice.
And so, yeah, I have a lot of that, and I have a really good eye for design. I'm not a good designer, but I know a good designer when I meet them and see what they create.
Mhm.
And then in 2020, we added software development, which changed things again because of my instructional design background. I have a process mindset. So I understand how things should flow, and I can see gaps in process and procedure. So I was actually really suited for software development mentally. Like, I enjoyed that. But I'm not a good developer. It's like way too tedious and detailed. And I'm like, I need to throw crayons on this. Like, it's too technical, but I love those people, like it's a cool skill set to have. And I like to sell it. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you're good at it. I'm curious, do you use AI in any of your business right now? I know it's a hot thing right now.
Oh yeah. We've built a few products for customers leveraging AI, building AI into the software that they're building to help their customers operate better. Like, we built a job platform for veterans and to help them write their resumes with contextual things that they've done. It's like, okay, they'll list out all of the tasks they completed in the Marines. Okay, well, that doesn't really align with, corporate America. It's like, okay, how do we hire a nuke? And so, but then this AI program will take the things they've done and actually rework some of those to make them more applicable job skills. And it's all built into this resume platform. It's really pretty sweet. But we use it all the time too, for our own content creation, for code, for ideas, to teach clients how to do their own marketing. Like, we use it every day.
That's amazing. So are there any aspects of using it that give you pause, or you feel like, what would you say to business owners that are out there? Because I think there are a lot of them that are afraid to try to use some newer tools like AI. What are your thoughts on that?
I say press in and play with it. You got to just try and prompt it over and over again till you get what you want. Like, it's not going to work the first time you do it. You're going to get a weird result probably, but then you learn how to ask it questions in a different way and learn how to leverage it. Like, every time you're trying to think of something, just ask. We call him Chatty. Ask Chatty first and see if it can kind of give you a little bit of an outline or something like that. But don't be afraid of a rough draft. Don't be afraid to try it. It's coming, and it's going to be in every single, if you don't already notice, it's in every single platform already. And it's going to be more and more. So, man, leverage it. Leverage it for your businesses to optimize your processes. I got a buddy who's using it in manufacturing, and he's like increased his employee count, which was cool because most people are like, I'm going to lose my job.
Right.
He did not. And then he increased his overall revenue by like 35% last year because of implementing AI.
That's awesome.
In manufacturing.
It's like so many people fear, like you said, are afraid that jobs are going to go away, and maybe some will. But then there are a lot of new jobs created just through idea generation and things that maybe like, well, we don't have to spend time on this as much, so we can focus on this other area that maybe can be a whole job. So
yeah, for sure.
So I'm curious, when you get up in the morning, what gets you excited to come to work? What are you driven by?
Man, just small business success is huge for me. I love to be a champion, and I love to watch people win. And it's my favorite thing ever. I like to elevate my team. I like to put them in seats where they get to see some elevation. I like to help my small businesses succeed. It's just, that's good. That's good stuff.
Cheering other people.
Yeah.
Do you have, so brag on yourself a little bit. What's like one of the most impactful things, biggest wins that you've had as a business owner, and what did that look like? Tell me that story.
Okay. Well, we've had a lot of wins over 10. We've had a lot of losses over 10 years. Why is it so much easier to talk about the losses? Okay. So, well, the biggest win I was sharing with you guys just before we started recording was that I just won the National Small Business Advocate of the Year award with the NSBA.
Congratulations.
Okay. And so that was huge. I didn't realize how big a deal it was until I was in Washington. And then I was like, oh, there's like a lot of people who are very excited about this. And this is a bigger deal than I realized. But
neat. Congrats.
But yeah, it was huge. It was actually a really big deal. And it was cool because it was sort of lifetime achievement-y for me. You know, there's been 10 years of pouring into small business, helping them grow, helping them find their path or determine what they're going to do next. And all of that, plus serving in all the different places I serve and all the things like that, it was just kind of validation, I guess, for all the work that you put in that you don't see. People don't, you don't get paychecks for all of that.
Right.
For sure. But that was a big win. And then landing maybe our first government contract was a huge win. Like we got woman-owned small business and we got Hub Zone and we had these certifications behind us. And so we started working with the state of Texas. So we got approved vendors under the Department of Information Technology cooperative contract, which is a DIR. So once you're DIR, then you can work for any state agency doing website design. I can do software development, social media, like all these different things. And so that kind of just changed the playing field for us a bit.
So getting government contracts, getting certified to do that opened up this other pipeline of potential clients. How did you go about getting certified to do that? Did you just Google it and figure it out, or did you have someone who helped you? How do you go about that?
Yeah. So the SBDC is here locally and they will definitely connect you with all the people that help. There's a guy that works with the SBDC directly. His name's Mark Schneider. He is spectacular, the most gentle human on the planet. And he will literally sit with you question by question and walk through the application process completely. And then if you can't finish it, he'll get back on the phone with you again in a 2-hour-long meeting. It's just so gentle and sweet, and he's wonderful. So I went through the first part of it and got our Texas Hub certification. And then I passed it off to my marketing manager, Ashton, and she got our woman-owned small business and Hub Zone certifications for us.
Very cool. Man, great having a good team that can move all these levers for you while you're still running your business.
Yeah.
And keep things growing.
Okay, so just thinking of wins and things you've helped your clients do, what is one thing that every business needs as far as marketing is concerned? What's the one thing they need?
Website. Please have a website.
Website. Okay.
Yeah, it's your digital storefront, and people make their buying decisions online before they ever walk in your doors, before they ever meet you. They're looking at how you present online. And that's just going to become more and more with the next buying generation, all the things like they are digital first. And so you need a website.
Okay. That, my pet peeve is I hate getting on a small business's website and I have no idea what they sell and what they do. And it's like,
should I set a good website?
Well, I feel like so many small business owners get that wrong, where you log onto their website and it's like a, homage to who that person has been their entire life. And you're like, okay, I appreciate that you
published a book in 88 or
right,
whatever.
Right. I'm like, what problem are you solving?
Yeah.
And so I guess next question, what makes a good website?
Yeah. Well, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. For one, people know who you are and what you do. A clear call to action, top right corner, call now, buy now, connect with us right now. Some people's websites can tell their story, their personal story. That's kind of their culture or their whatever. It doesn't have to, though. It could be, separate from an individual human. But yeah, just a website that's clear. I mean, You wouldn't hire like to build your office building. You wouldn't hire like somebody you just met off the street or found online and be like, hey, I'm going to give you a bunch of money to build this building for me, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so maybe when you build your website the first time around, like build it with somebody that knows how to build it with strong structure so that it gets Google traffic, so that it gets, it's navigatable by your customer base. It's responsive. It looks good on a phone and on a computer. And then ask that company that builds it for you to show you how to update it yourself if they will, or consider hiring the person to do fixes later. But your initial build, like hire a good builder.
So it's worth investing in. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, you should really see it as this is how the world sees me.
Yeah.
Your storefront's how maybe Lubbock, Texas sees you, or whoever, wherever you're located, that's your community. So maybe 10,000 people ever will see that.
Mm-hmm.
Millions of people across the whole globe could see your storefront online.
Right.
So like be shinier.
Yeah. That anytime I get on a website, I like in the first 3 seconds, I want to know what problem do you solve and how can I do business with you as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And I feel like if these small businesses would do that in like the first little bit of their page, that they would get so much more results out of it.
Yeah.
So on a similar note, but maybe a little bit off topic, if I'm a business owner and I'm wanting to learn from you about strategies to grow my business, because you've done that, you've been growing. How do you do that? What are some strategies you've used to grow?
I guess it would depend on what kind of area they're in. For us and the community we're in, definitely being a part of the local chambers of commerce, like in your area, because networking, at the end of the day, people still make buying decisions by people they know, they like, and they trust. And so you have to build some sort of repertoire with the people that are going to be buying from you. So if it's a local business, then you need to be involved in the community. And that's a good marketing strategy. Connect with other people around you. And they're like, oh, I know Amy. I'm going to call her first, or, connect her with this other person that I might know. So referral base is huge, and taking good care of your existing customers that invest in you, like pouring back into them again and again. Referral based programs and incentives are always good for like existing clients. So I'm kind of big on building from there. Big, huge market entry strategy. There's like, if you're doing, I don't know, there are not many people that would probably be building like nationwide campaigns here or anything like that. But a lot of times in those spaces, you like find ambassadors for your brand and things like that can kind of help infiltrate communities a little better for you. But I think for us, the biggest wins have been being involved and interested in my community, serving in my community, in the school districts, in the chambers, and the college, like in any way that I can, I connect.
Yeah.
I love that you said that, because that's one thing in my line of work when I'm talking to potential vendors that want to win clients. It's developing those relationships at the Chamber of Commerce or whatever, that you're not going to make a sell immediately. But if you you get to know these people and you're telling your story long enough and how you help solve people's problems, and you have other people that you've solved their problems and they can talk about it, that eventually when the crap hits the fan for that person, they're going to call someone they trust.
Yeah.
And that's the long game, but is so important. And if you're intentional with that, 3-5 years down the road, you've built this super pipeline that
it's solid. Yeah, it's super solid.
I love that. Okay, referrals. What are some tactics? Like, what are some practical stuff for a small business owner to develop a referral program? What do you usually suggest?
I'm gonna actually shout out a small business. So Minimized and Organized is owned by Cabri Carpenter.
Okay.
This girl is like Boss Babe 3000. She is so smart. But I love what she does because she uses Facebook and Facebook groups a lot, and she does it in a smart way. So anytime somebody's like, hey, I need to organize my closet, people will tag Minimize and Organize. So Cabri never misses. She will send you a card that's like, thank you, and a $5 card to a local business. Like, she does it very consistently, to where I haven't even seen Cabri in probably 2 years. But whenever I will instantly think of her because she's rewarded me with these little, and that's a small give for, a lead on Google would cost you $5 if it's a call. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not much, but she's done that really well, leveraging those small business recommendations and Lubbock groups and different types of like small business spots where people are hanging out. And I think that's such a smart idea. Like, I love it. It doesn't work that same way for Flint Avenue, but we're kind of in a different space. Like government, you can't give rewards. I cannot mail anybody a gift card, but I can give them time.
Yeah.
And that's unrecorded. And so I'll give them time, like consulting or just, hanging out.
Which is more valuable than $5.
Yeah.
I was just thinking as we're listening to you, I want to scrub back across our timeline and re-listen to some of this later because you've already given so many good things here.
Yeah, the referral thing I think is so important, and it's such an easy win, right?
Yeah.
Like you have these current clients,
Mm-hmm.
and what if you could incentivize them in some way? Maybe it's $100, or maybe it's a couple $100 of like, hey, if you send me a client and they, sign a 6-month contract or whatever, that's just low hanging fruit for the people that are already
and people
singing
want
your
to help.
praises.
They want to help you win.
Yeah.
People around you want to help you win. Everybody, like, I want to help you guys win. You want to help me win.
Yeah.
It's just all part of it. And so your referral can just literally be at the bottom of an email. It's like, if you know anybody else that might benefit from having time together, like, would you let me know? Like, would you connect me? And just asking. And I'll search people's LinkedIns and be like, hey, this person. Would you mind introducing me to them?
Mm-hmm.
And look on my LinkedIn too. And I'll introduce you to whoever you want to know. We'll just trade connection.
That's so smart. That's such a good idea. Yeah. And then helping each other in that way.
Yeah.
The referral thing, man, that's such low hanging fruit that listen up, small business owners.
It's so much less expensive to retain an existing client or to bring in a client through referral than it is to obtain that new client, change their mind from whatever they're currently doing to shifting to you. Like, it's just such a larger learning curve. It's more expensive in every way. But if you create culture, you create magnetism, you create, it starts flowing, and it's less stressful for you too, because you're not like hunting all the time. You're, stuff's coming to the door and you're receiving or rejecting. Like it puts you in a different power seat,
which makes it so much easier. I was talking to a business owner this week who was saying that they don't do this with everyone, but they have certain referral partners. If that referral partner sends them a lead, they give that referral partner 10% of the revenue from that lead.
Nice.
Which sounds like a pretty big chunk, right? But he's like, we don't have to hire anybody to go out and chase leads for us now because we're getting all these qualified leads from these referral partners that we know are going to send us good people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, depending on what business you're in, it's like, that can be golden.
Yeah.
So
big time.
And it's just, I think people don't realize how much that plays into your psyche. Like, think about the last movie you went and saw in theaters. Like, you probably went and saw it because one of your friends was like, oh man, we went and saw that and it was great.
Yeah.
My kids loved it. And we went and saw Transformers this last weekend because one of our friends was like, oh, it's great. My kids loved it. And, before we know it, we bought 5 tickets and
yeah.
I only go to movies you go to. So I guess you're my referral source.
You're saying something important there too. And that is that you're sharing a testimonial. They shared a testimonial with you, which kind of like parallels that referral space. It's like when people can share what a great experience they had, it's a no-brainer to make the decision again, right? So, leverage that in your business.
And where would you leverage that as far as on your website? Where else?
I mean, because my marketing manager is here right now, she would say Google reviews.
Oh, okay.
And she would say every single person you interact with, like even today in this interaction, let's do a Google review for one another because it's the easiest way to give cred to another business. But then outside of that, just asking for, how was your experience with us? Customer surveys. Some people do it that way. Some people do testimonial videos or shout us out on social, just however it makes sense for your business model. But when other people say you're good and you're not the one saying you're good all the time, like somebody else actually says, no, actually they have something special going on over there. It piques more interest and it's actually more trusted than the actual source. So
yeah, it makes sense. So if you're a business owner and you do a good job for somebody, don't be afraid to ask for a testimonial, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's business is so relational, and that's just another one of those layers. If how can you lean into the relationship that is actually real? Like, I want you to win, you want me to win. Like, that's real.
Yeah.
It's an authentic thing. It's not this
Yeah.
transactional thing. It's how can we help each other, and that's amazing. That's amazing.
It's imperative. It's how we have to be. You know, we're this Earth's cohort right now,
Right.
and most of it's running on the back of small business.
Yep.
You know, and so it only helps us all if we can just help each other out and do the things that help each other get in front of other people better. So
I have another specific marketing question. If you were talking to a small business owner and they said, what are 2 places that I need to go spend money on ads, on advertising? Where should they go?
Google,
Google.
for sure. Spend your money on Google. Well, it depends on their audience too. So like older people are trying to target, we may say YouTube. It may be, you know, like the second place might be harder to determine. Like if you're a business to business, maybe I would say LinkedIn. If you were targeting, you know, maybe Facebook and Instagram, if you were targeting millennial audience or something like that. But Google always. And I would actually last year, well, not last year, but the year before, Flint Avenue just eliminated our ad budget. And I was like, I'm not going to spend money on ads. I'm going to shift that money to relationship. And so I started hosting the Boss Ass Breakfast. And so once a month, only CEOs or owners of businesses could come. I don't send your marketing manager to my Boss Ass Breakfast. And we started doing that. And the people that I had worked with before came back. We actually ended up growing our business more than I did using the targeted Google ads.
Wow.
And so, but that's my business. It doesn't necessarily, I'm not saying for everybody you should cut your ad budgets, but for my business, the way it is relationally, it made a big difference to just shift that spend to something else.
The marketing agency doesn't spend any money advertising.
Well, last year, we do this year. There were some ESSER funds that I wanted to capture this year. So we went back, we did spend some more this year. Boss Ass Breakfast actually is a lot of work because we had to set up a whole breakfast and it was a big deal. So we're not caterers.
But I love the idea. It's so creative. Yeah. And it feeds into what you were saying earlier. Like you've got a, endless supply of good ideas. So yeah. I mean, for a business owner though, I think that's like always be having your wheels turning. How can I get other people talking about me or get that message out? And maybe it's breakfast. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it is.
All right. We've talked a lot of good stuff that's happening. The other side of that coin, what are some losses you've taken along the way that might be funny or interesting story, and what lessons did you learn?
Well, see, yesterday, the CEO of a technology company, me, left her laptop at home in Leveland. And so, yeah, that was like a whole day with no tech.
Oh, no.
But I was in office and I had meetings. And so that was a pretty good, we got a good laugh out of that one. So that was kind of a funny one. But no, there's all kinds of like lower parts of the roller coaster on the entrepreneurial journey. I've hired friends and had to fire friends, good, close, good friends. And it changes things. You have to sometimes prioritize things you're doing for the business over things you want to be doing or things you want to do for your family or be around your family. It's not always easy. There's a lot of times you want to just like the bleeding heart part of you wants to just do everything for free or not have the conversation when someone hasn't paid you or, whatever. Like there's all kinds of negatives that come along with small business that aren't fun, but you do it because at the end of the day, there's so much more that's good, and you feel like you're making difference and making impact, and that's good.
And doing the hard things are worth it because it allows you to keep doing it. Keep doing the things you're good at. Yeah. I mean, that's so true. We hear things from business owners all the time. You talked about, your friend relationships or an employee that was a friend or family member and no longer works here. Those sorts of things are really hard.
It is.
Well, as far as what gets you excited about the future for Flint Avenue, I would love to hear what is it that you're just looking forward to? What's around the bend?
So, of course, more government contracts. We got a couple of products that we're going to just commercialize a bit better with our website hosting and things like that. We've got a small business mobile app so that a smaller company could afford to have their own customized app called Arise Apps. And we're excited about relaunching those. But personally, we have literally blocked like a week off of my time so I can write again. And so I'm going to start drafting some curriculum specifically for small business success around this topic of marketing. I'm an instructional designer, so it's in my blood to want to teach and to create this content. And so starting to, leverage that with the experience I've had and start to create something that people could really learn from, chomp down on.
Love it. It's exciting. We're going to have to see it.
Yeah. I want to see it.
Yeah. Well, Albert, I think it's time for the fire round.
Let's do it.
Okay. Amy, what's your favorite movie?
I said I hate favorite questions because I never know what the favorite is. But I'm going to have to say in this situation, it's probably Forrest Gump.
Yes.
I know it's such a strange one, but I love the movie Forrest Gump because I kind of feel like I have lived the Forrest Gump life. Like there's situations I've been in. I did not earn it. Could not see myself there, but I just keep getting these opportunities and getting to be in these places. And I feel Forrest Gumpy at times. And so I just love that movie.
That's one of those, when it's on TV,
like you can just watch it.
Whatever scene it's on, like I can watch it to the end.
Yeah, it's good.
That's true.
All right. What is your favorite book?
All right. My favorite book's probably the Bible. I read the Bible every day.
Great choice.
Good choice. Good. Aside from the Bible, what's your favorite book?
Okay. Well, since my experience with Stephen Covey, 7 Habits has always been a really important book to me. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. For those that don't know, he has a chapter in there called Understand versus Being Understood.
Yes.
Or being understood understanding before you're understood. And that resonates with me as a lifelong learner. It's just something I've kind of clung to. So
yeah, that's actually the quote that I remember from that book reading in high school. So Great answer.
Great answer.
All right. What is a piece of advice that's common in your industry that you don't agree with?
I hate hustle culture.
Okay.
Like I really hate #hustle culture. I am not a part of that. I'm not going to wake up at 5 a.m. and work out 50 billion hours and win the day in a million ways. Like, I don't think that's healthy for entrepreneurship. I think you need to get in a groove that's healthy for your body and healthy for your family and healthy for your life. Mm-hmm. Life is really short. And so if you just go into this mindset of like every bit of your identity is built around your hustle, I think it's a formula for failure. Mm-hmm. And so I would say I'm anti-hustle culture. It can grow slow. It's still going to grow. Yeah. It's still going to grow. It may not grow as fast, but it's not going to fail as fast either. Like you may have some like longer steady times with whatever you're building. And that's a good thing. The journey's good.
So don't get burned out. Find some balance. Read your Bible.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. All right. What are some words of wisdom that has been maybe the most impactful or that guide you? What are some words of wisdom?
Things that guide me. Gosh, it changes like every single week. When you read the Bible, you get something new that punches you in the throat every day. And you're like, dang, that's good. I should listen to that. But I guess I had a mentor. His name was Richard Graves, and he was teaching us facilitation skills. And he told me that no matter how incapable or incompetent or less than you feel when you stand in front of a class or in front of a room full of people, you have to know that what you're speaking on, you know more than they do, most likely, and that they're there for your success. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to go see a bad speaker. Nobody wants to go see a bad performance or participate in a bad experience. Everyone wants good. So everyone wants good for you. And so that just always resonated with me. Like, no matter what I'm going to go do, I can kind of do it fearlessly because I know that whoever's on the receiving end of that wants success too. We all want to have a good thing happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. How can people get in touch with you and how can people do business with you?
Sure. So flintavenue.com. And then we're at Flint Avenue on every social platform. This is probably the best way to reach out to us. And yeah, I'd love to connect and collab with anybody.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for being on our podcast.
Yes, this has been great.
Thank you for the stories and the practical nuggets. I really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. I know we did.
Definitely.
And if you want more where that came from, go ahead and click subscribe and keep coming back and keep learning lessons on how to improve your business. And if you're a business owner and you feel stuck in your business, if you feel like your business has plateaued and can't improve, can't do better. Go ahead and go to our website at www.stagcoaching.com, and in the top right-hand corner, click our business assessment. It's a free business assessment that in just a few questions, in just a few clicks, can diagnose what's going on with your business, what's wrong, what's going right, and what are the next steps to take to get past where you're stuck. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next one.